Wow, guys, it is really starting to feel crazy. For me, it's starting to feel like we're really about to enter into that do not leave your computer screen season. So without further ado, let's talk about the Blast Big Bang competition and the winners that were just recently announced. Blast had over 3,000 teams submit to the competition, and of the 3,000 teams, they handpicked 47 winners. And this is just so awesome because we're also seeing that the builder interest is there for deploying on Blast, and things are really just heating up. Here is a breakdown with how the Blast developer airdrop is going to be allocated. I think the key thing to take away from this is that the Big Bang winners will get a substantial airdrop from winning the competition, but the team has actually reserved an additional airdrop allocation for all teams that competed in the Big Bang competition, and they will continue to reward any mainnet deployments that actively contribute to the ecosystem. So here is the vibe check. Most devs are giving their entire dev allocation of Blast to their platform users. Some people are going to mid-curve this. Some are going to fade it, calling it a Ponzi. But the reality is we are in a points meta. Points and incentives are a core part of the Blast ecosystem culture. And I think if projects want to stay competitive in terms of competing for the capital that's here and the capital that has yet to come, they'll need to allocate a majority, if not all, of their dev allocation to their users. On the note of capital deployment, it should be said that since the beginning of the year, stablecoin issuance and redemption has increased on Ethereum mainnet by roughly 3.5 billion. By the way, huge shout out to my friend and data whiz Pat Doyle for pulling this data together for me. My point here is we're already starting to see new capital come into Ethereum, and because Blast literally feels like a gold mine, and we know that the gas fees on Blast aren't going to make us want to throw ourselves off of a cliff, it makes me wonder how much more liquidity is going to be injected into Blast over the next 6 to 12 months.
I find it pretty hilarious that everyone just accepts Blast is going to be the biggest casino in the game.
The last 48 to 72 hours has been an absolute blur with fucking around and finding out on testnet, diving into docs, meeting with teams, and trying to get a good understanding of what's actually being built. So with that said, I've pulled together an initial list of projects from the Big Bang competition winners that I found compelling based off of protocol design, incentive structures, product features, and team history and backing. At the end, I'll also mention some more of the projects that I'm still researching and looking into as I try to figure out how exactly I want to deploy my capital onto Blast. So with that said, let's do some high-level breakdowns. Up first, we have the spot DEX category. We're going to start off with Thruster, which is a DEX and a launchpad for tokens. What's compelling about it? Well, what we're seeing on testnet is really just the tip of the iceberg with Thruster. In their docs, they outline a pretty clear product vision and feature set with being able to support multiple different types of AMMs and having a feature-rich trading interface with social features, active order flow, and leverage integrations, just to name a few. I think given Thruster's positioning in the market, including having 16 of the 47 Big Bang winners partnered with them, and already powering highly anticipated token launches like the Pump It Loomdart token, i.e. PIL from Wasabi, really sets Thruster up nicely to potentially be the go-to spot DEX on mainnet. Thruster is a Big Bang winner with 100% of their Blast rewards being distributed to their users, and they are currently live on testnet. Next up in the spot DEX category, we have MangroveDAO, which is a spot DEX and a liquidity restaking platform. As I've mentioned before, restaking is a hot narrative, and how Mangrove has taken this and made it a core part of their product design is actually pretty mind-blowing. So what Mangrove allows for you to do is to basically take the capital that you've already deployed for liquidity pools or lending pools on Blast and restake that capital through Mangrove's order book. So let's say I'm supplying liquidity on Thruster for the Blast ETH pool. With Mangrove, I can actually take that liquidity from Thruster and deploy it into Mangrove's order book to make market orders or limit orders with that liquidity I have on Thruster. This ends up letting me double my yield and double my points. With Mangrove, your capital is literally working overtime, 24/7, beyond just getting native yield. Mangrove literally designed this to allow you to stack points for multiple protocols, and I don't really think I need to say more than that. They're already pretty integrated with the Blast ecosystem with 9 liquidity source partners, Mangrove is also a big bang winner with 100% of their blast rewards from the competition being distributed to their users. They're not currently live on testnet, but they will be live on mainnet launch. All right, next category, Perp Dexes. First up, we have Blitz. Blitz is basically taking the leverage trading tools that we have on centralized exchanges and is putting them on chain. I'm fairly new to leverage trading on chain, but as I've been exploring their testnet, I couldn't help but really fall in love with the user experience. The limited leverage trading I've done on fungible tokens has mostly been on centralized exchanges like MEXC. And my previous experience with trying to leverage trade on chain, well, let's just say that speed and gas fees were a complete turnoff. Blitz seems to fix all of this. The other thing here too is Blitz is a proven model. They're created by the team behind Vertex Protocol, which is basically Blitz over on Arbitrum, and they've already done over 55 billion in volume. Blitz is a big bang winner with 100% of their blast rewards from the competition being distributed to their users, and they are currently live on testnet. Next in perps, we're looking at Blast Futures. Blast Futures is also a perp dex that really leans into the native yield that comes from your assets being on Blast. Basically, your funds on Blast Futures will natively earn an extra 5% yield, and the user experience is pretty solid from what I was playing around with on testnet. Blast Futures is a big bang winner with 90% of their Blast rewards from the competition being distributed to their community. Currently, their testnet is closed, but they should be reopening it sometime before mainnet deployment. Now, on to the next category, lending. So we'll start with Juice Finance, which is basically a cross-margin DeFi farming platform that enables enhanced leverage. So what that means is you'll be able to use your USDB to supply liquidity into their pools, or use your wrapped ETH as margin collateral. Not only is your wrapped ETH margin collateral, but they also have this really cool over-collateralized loan mechanism specifically for your wrapped ETH where you can actually borrow up to 300% LTV USDB against it. From there, you could just take your borrow and deploy it into liquidity pools on Spot or Perp Dexes or other integrated partners to farm yield and get funding rates all from Juice's platform. What's particularly cool about the way Juice Finance has set this up is it actually allows for you to earn and stack points with leverage across different protocols that they've partnered with. The other thing to note here too is that Juice Finance's parent company, Omega Infrastructure, raised $7.5 million, and they've actually been building out this platform for the last 14 months. Juice is a big bang winner with 100% of their blast rewards from the competition being distributed to their community. Juice is also currently live on testnet. Up next in lending is Metastreet, which if you've watched any of my other videos, you'll know that they're one of the OG NFT lending platforms on Ethereum. I think one of the things that's really cool about Blast is that Blast is standardizing ETH risk-free rates, and that's thanks to having all ETH on Blast natively generating yield. And the big brains over at Metastreet have properly called out that the highest native ETH on ETH yield comes from NFT lending. So with Metastreet, what you're going to do is you're going to deposit wrap staked ETH into a lending pool against a specific NFT collection. And then what it does on the back end is it locks up that NFT that's being utilized as collateral and essentially creates a bond. And you receive that bond in the form of a liquid credit token, or LCT. Metastreet's LCT is designed to enable you to bridge the financial value of NFTs on Ethereum over to Blast. And once you bridge your LCTs over, there are a ton of different yield strategies that you'll be able to implement across Metastreet and their Blast partners, where you'll actually have the opportunity to stack a crap ton of points across different platforms. There is literally a world where you can get 16x points from farming Metastreet and their partners. And here's some alpha for you. I hear that there might be something happening with the Wasies here. Don't know too much, but I just heard. So it's absolutely wild. Metastreet is also a big bang winner with 100% of their blast rewards from the competition being distributed to their community. Metastreet is not currently live on testnet, but they will be deploying on mainnet. And lastly, for lending, let's take a look at Particle. The one-liner for Particle is that it's a leverage automatic market maker that basically lets you list and trade any ERC20 token with leverage. So the magic sauce here is that basically as a trader, you can borrow directly from the liquidity pools Think the AMMs on spot DEXs to leverage trade any ERC20 token on their platform. I really like Particle because this is the first time I've seen a product designed like this. They've basically figured out a way where you can borrow from a concentrated liquidity position and how to make sure that liquidity providers still get higher interest rate fees with basically no increased risk in terms of impermanent loss based off of their original liquidity provision. Particle, like the other platforms that we're going through today, already has multiple partnerships in place with other Blast builders. They're also a big bang winner, with 100% of their Blast rewards from the competition being distributed to their community, and they are currently live on testnet. Now, for one of my favorite categories, let's talk NFTs/gaming. Before I get started, I just have to say I think it is pretty hilarious that NFT finance got looped in with gaming. But with that said, let's talk about Wasabi. For those of you who don't know, Wasabi is the leading NFT perps and options platform on Ethereum mainnet. What's crazy is that they just released their asset-backed perps at the beginning of January, and they've already seen over 27 million in perp volume since then. It's actually pretty funny because I had no idea Wasabi was applying for the Big Bang competition. I think they kept this somewhat under wraps, and I actually have a couple of questions on how exactly this will work on Blast, but Aaron and the team are keeping me in suspense, but in the best way. So we'll just have to see what they're cooking. But honestly, bullish nonetheless that Wasabi will be on Blast mainnet. What I do know, however, is that they are a Big Bang winner and that 100% of their Blast rewards from the competition will be distributed to their users. No testnet for Wasabi, but they'll be live on mainnet. And speaking of NFT perps, NFT Perp, which is an Oracle-based perps DEX for NFTs that's been around on Arbitrum, is also coming to Blast mainnet. Just like Wasabi, I had no idea that they were applying, so I was super excited to see them on the list. Their perps model is a bit different than Wasabi's, as in they're an Oracle-based platform. In the last week, they actually just launched the V2 of their alpha, which now has an in-house Oracle for NFT valuations, upgrades on their insurance fund, and from a product perspective, a pretty cool upgrade with merging their limit order books with an AMM to increase efficiency of trading. I imagine we will see a product similar to V2 being deployed on Blast mainnet. To give some context and history of NFT Perp, their V1 alpha saw over 500 million in total trading volume. NFT Perp is a Big Bang winner, and I haven't seen any announcements yet around whether or not they're going to be distributing their Blast rewards to their users, but I do have a feeling that we'll find out pretty soon. No testnet for NFT Perp, but they'll be live on mainnet. For the NFT pick, I'm going to be looking at Blastopians, which is actually a Big Bang honorable mention. I'm not gonna lie, about 48 hours ago, I was definitely hardcore mid-curving NFTs on Blast. My initial thought was to look at the other L2s and even L1 NFT ecosystems, and I kind of just figured, well, NFT culture took a while on these other chains to really cement, and quite frankly, a lot of them, the NFT culture isn't even there, even though they've been around for years. But thanks to my awesome Remint Reality partner and co-host War Daddy Capital, who is also my 24/7 sounding board, well, he woke me up to the reality that this is Blur's blockchain. Given all the history and context in which Blast came about, I don't really think we can speculate on the NFT culture on Blast with the same framework that we use to look at other chains and ecosystems. We're both under the assumption that Blur is going to be live day one on Blast. So Blastopians is pretty interesting because it seems really well positioned to be a catalyst for getting the Blast native NFT culture started. It's made by the Creed Alpha Group, which is home to some of the most successful Blur farmers, with group earnings over 10 million from the last Blur airdrop. The collection is set to be a 5K collection with a whitelist mint and a public mint. The team has flagged that the whitelist mint is a low allocation for every collaboration and partner they have. However, it should be said that they are tapping over 100 communities from Solana, ETH, and Avalanche to get them to bridge over to Blast to become collectors, which I actually think is pretty smart. So while Blastopians falls under honorable mentions, I think it's 100% worth paying attention to. Plus, 100% of their dev allocation from the competition is going to be distributed to holders. Now for the gaming pick, Cambria. And all I really have to say is, let's fucking go. You know, in my free time, I play video games here and there, and I wouldn't really say that Web3 gaming is a core area of focus of mine, but a couple months ago, my friend Ben got me to play Cambria's Degen Arena on base, and it was so much fun. It's giving RuneScape and childhood nostalgia vibes with these like 1v1 duels that have on-chain stakes. So I'm super excited that this is coming to Blast, and I'm especially stoked that they'll be supporting the Pac Moon token in the game. Cambria is a Big Bang winner with 100% of their Blast rewards from the competition being distributed to their community. They're not live on Blast testnet, but they will be live on mainnet. Now, the last two projects fall under the SocialFi category. First, we have Fantasy, which is a platform that lets you collect Twitter influencers' cards and earn rewards based off of their weekly X performances. You basically create this roster of 5 people in your deck to submit weekly. You can buy cards, you can sell cards, basically however you want to stack your team based off of the drama or attention that's taking up the timeline. You can. I've only been on it for about the last 72 hours, and it's actually been a lot of fun getting to speculate on something that's kind of silly, but at the same time, kind of a quick vibe check. Fantasy is a Big Bang winner with 100% of their Blast rewards being distributed to their community. Testnet is currently live, but invites are closed. Just a side note, what I really like about both Cambria and Fantasy is these seem like really easy and genuinely fun ways to get exposure to Blast, especially if you don't have time to put the research into the DeFi strategies. Although I would highly encourage you to make time to research if you are serious about making the Blast ecosystem a key part of your portfolio this cycle. And the last is PackBot, which got an honorable mention in the competition. I don't know if you guys got on the brief-lived friend tech wave or if you're in call groups or trading groups, but what I do know is there's a lot of noise and a lot of communities that require you to pay, but you don't really know what concrete value you're getting until you're in there. So with PackBot, it's basically one of the slickest Telegram trading bots / app interfaces I've seen. And there's basically going to be this SocialFi component that's essentially the friend tech model, but tweaked for alpha groups, trading groups, and call groups. Imagine before you decided to buy someone's key, you could actually get access to their group and easily see on chain the P&L of the group. That feels like a really compelling use case to me, and I think the friend tech model works really well for something like this. So we'll see what happens, but very stoked to see them as a Big Bang honorable mention, and they have also committed 100% of their Blast rewards from the competition to be distributed to their community. PackBot is currently live on testnet, so you can check it out. So that wraps up my main list of projects and protocols that I'm looking at. But at the end of the day, the Blast ecosystem is clearly vibrant with a lot of builders. So I've put together a little watch list. These are projects from the Big Bang competition winners that I'm still researching, familiarizing myself with, and/or am figuring out if I think the users on Blast will gravitate towards these plays versus some of the other winners. So real quick, we have Blaster Swap, which was a runner-up in the Spot Dex category. There's Orbit Finance, which is a Big Bang winner in the lending category. Baseline Markets, which was a Big Bang winner in the infrastructure category. They have this like ERC420 token, which looks really degen-y and interesting, but I literally can't find any information on it. There's also Gelato and Red Zone, which are other infrastructure Big Bang winners, and I think they're pretty interesting, but I'm not too sure if the incentive on the infrastructure plays is going to be better than the yield and incentive on the DeFi side of things. There's also Quail Finance, which is a SocialFi play that has collateral-free loans on social credit, which sounds really cool, but I'm still looking into how it works. I'm also going to be putting the Colony in the watch list category. Personally, I'm really excited when it comes to tokenizing physical assets and bringing those on chain, but I think these types of assets are still trying to find product market fit, and I don't fully know what that looks like on Blast just yet. So anyways, that's the DL for now. We still have a few more days before Blast mainnet launches. At the time of filming this video, there has been no confirmed date except that it should be before the end of February. Again, with that said, if you are serious about making Blast a part of your strategy this cycle, take the time to start thinking about your strategy for mainnet deployment. Start thinking about what your risk tolerance is, how much capital you can deploy, and really do the research and due diligence on any of the projects you're thinking about putting money into. Our space is an attention economy. So what are other people talking about? What are the whales of the space looking at? And I know for those of you who are new to DeFi, this is a lot to process. And truth be told, I consider myself a DeFi noob. Maybe a little bit more informed than others, but really, I'm like right there with you guys. I am still learning. I am still figuring this out. I've just come to realize that for me personally, I learn best when I'm able to get my hands on the platform and like push through transactions, which is why I think everyone should be taking advantage of testnet before mainnet launches. If you haven't already, go check out War Daddy's video on getting started on Blast testnet. He'll show you how to get the testnet tokens, and then you're off to the races. So we're in a space that rewards curiosity. And beyond watching my video, I highly encourage you guys to go look at the rest of the competition winners. Maybe there's something really cool being built that one of us missed. Who knows? You never know unless you explore. So with that said, I'm all in. I don't know if you guys are, but I am. I'm so excited for mainnet deployment. And until the next one, guys, bearish or bullish, keep farming.